Hello, thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Wednesday, April 23rd edition of our video devotionals. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope your Wednesday's going well, and we got a beautiful day here in Central North Carolina. We're going to be in Proverbs 20, verse 1. Find that. We're going to try to jump into this kind of quickly, and we do appreciate you. This is the middle part of the work week and school week once again, and tonight is church time for many of us. Be there, be in your places, and that'll be good for everybody, okay? Thank you for watching the videos. We appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you for all the correspondence. So we're going to jump into this because I've done a few takes here, a couple of takes, and I went a little bit long, so I'm going to try to get this within the 5.5 minute mark of getting my point made here. All right, notice Proverbs 20, verse 1, on this Wisdom Wednesday. Wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. So this is Wisdom Wednesday. And it says right here that a person that partakes of wine or would partake of wine and the strong drink, we're talking about like liquors and all of that, alcoholic beverages. It says somebody that is deceived by the fact that it's okay, that they can handle this or whatever you want to call it. The Bible says they're not wise. I don't know about you. I want to be a wise person. And alcohol is one of those things. Now, here's the thing. As a Christian, there's too many Christians that think, and I think this is because leadership has not taught things like this. I think there's this influence of the world. I think there's ignorance that comes from it. For example, people say, well, Jesus turned water into wine. Well, if you look at the Bible just generally and know the Bible, God's not going to contradict his own self by allowing the Son of God to turn water into an alcoholic beverage. When you look at a verse like this and others in the Bible, and then look at all the negative happenings in the Bible because of drunkenness. So when you look at the word wine, that could be anything from literally the squashed grape, the juice from that, to people who take and ferment wine and make alcoholic beverages, which of course in our day and age, that's a huge, huge industry. And so the point I'm making is Jesus didn't turn water into an alcoholic beverage so that people could get, as we would say, in a situation of drunkenness, in a situation in which God would violate his own scriptures. He wouldn't do that. So that being said, so what's being said here? Well, just look at it at face value. Number one, wine is a mocker, okay? I don't think anybody likes to be mocked. Now there's sometimes you can be playing around. I'm a kidder, and I can stand with the best of them, kidding around with things. But I'm talking about being mocked in which there's malice and there's ill will and someone's mocking you. Well, the Bible says wine is a mock. We're talking about an alcoholic version. We're not talking about grape juice. We're not talking about that. Jesus, even when that night that they had what we call the Last Supper, he spoke about the fruit of the vine. So there's a range from the fruit of the vine juice until you get to an alcoholic situation like Proverbs 20 verse 1 is obviously talking about. So here's what I want to say. The world's going to have their way, but I'm speaking to Christians, and if there's one of you out there that partakes in alcoholic beverages as a Christian, and you think it's okay, well, I'm here to tell you, here's a verse that contradicts that. And the problem is, if there was no verse or verses in the Bible about it, and you just went by personal experience, live enough life and see what alcohol has done to people and all that it does do, then you'd say, you know what, the wise thing is to never touch it, never partake of it. Just leave it alone. You don't need it. You say, well, I like it. Well, there's a lot of things people like. There's a lot of things that's sinful that one shouldn't do. And your flesh can get you in a whole heap of trouble because it says, I like it. And God says, well, you shouldn't do that. So the point is, wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging. All the negative consequences of drinks. I'm just saying to this, if you're out there, somebody that drinks alcohol, I'm not asking you to go and get in their face and, spit all over them trying to make a point of this. I'll tell you what, as a pastor and as a Christian, I don't know of any faithful, loving Christian who partakes of alcohol that's faithful to church, does all the basics that we would think of. I don't know of any that's ever done that has had an influence for God, and their testimony is what it should be. If I was to go down to any bar or to go to any restaurant and I sit around drinking beer and someone said, well, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I'm a preacher. Most people go, really? And you're drinking alcohol. See, that alone right there is something that would deter me from doing it. Just that alone, just the influence. Most people say, well, I don't think that's right. I don't think a person should do that. So the point is this: why don't we just take God at His word? And this is not the only verse, of course, that speaks of it. And there's many examples about drunkenness and the negative effects. But wine is a mocker. You don't want to be mocked, do you? Strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. Let's be wise today and help people not do it just because it's a powerful thing. The world, of course, promotes it big time. But God says, don't do that. It's just not wise, and it's very detrimental to one's health, and it's detrimental to one's testimony. And let's let the wisdom that God is speaking to us today just be just that, okay? All right, have a great day, safe day, healthy day, Lord willing. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.